have somebody special here in the studio.
We certainly do. It is my good friend. It is the station manager and chief operating officer of the Yes FM radio network, none other than Jeff Howe. Jeff, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming in, Jeff. Now, Jeff, to get things started right off the bat, how long have you been with Yes FM, the Yes FM radio network?
I've been with the SFM for 30 years.
30 years, the big 30. So this is a big year to celebrate. A lot of times people, you're on the air during the morning show every morning, but a lot of times people don't get an opportunity to kind of get to know a little bit more about your family. We understood you sent some pictures along at our request, and we're going to pull those up here and give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about your wonderful family you have.
Oh, I'm very blessed with this family. I've been married to my wife, Toledo, for 26 years now. We have 4 kids.
There we go.
Ages 40
would these be the
to 32.
grandchildren?
Those are the grandkids, age 16 to 7. The 2 in front there with those ugly Packers jerseys are our youngest, and they are twins.
Oh.
And hockey fan, that's my wife there next to me, and then my oldest granddaughter, Alyssa, and my son-in-law, Chris. Well, we love hockey. And there's me at the SFM main studio in Toledo.
Now, Jeff, I know this because you are a very gifted and talented man and have a lot of, lot of areas you could have gone into in, many different fields of human endeavor. But why did you choose to go into and stick with Christian radio for these past 30 years?
Well, it was God's leading. At a young age, I got hooked on radio just listening to a local AM station back in the day. And a couple of DJs there were kind of inspired me and got me hooked on radio. I originally was going to go into meteorology, but my parents said, no, we can't afford to send you out of town because that'd be a lot of college to go to. So I went to Toledo, and radio was my second choice. But I've always pretended to be a disc jockey in my basement with 8 tracks and cassettes and records. And since I was 10, and a friend of mine, my next door neighbor, was into electronics, and he had a cousin that was really into electronics, and they made me a little radio transmitter. And we broadcasted quite a distance, but
a little bit of pirate radio,
yeah,
huh? We won't tell the FCC.
That was many years ago. I'm probably past the
but statute of limitations have passed.
But
that's like back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, the transmitter didn't last long, but yeah, and then just went to college and worked at the campus station, got my first job in 1984. So this is my 40th year in Toledo radio.
Well, I actually have a little bit of history with Jeff.
Oh, you do?
Because I went to the University of Toledo, and when I was in my classes there, my broadcasting classes, he was one of the student teachers, or
co-teacher.
Co-teacher for a class that
Really?
I took. Yeah, so that was my,
That's right.
that was actually
So is he a pretty good teacher or not?
Oh, well, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Good.
yes. And I remember recording like my first little commercials, on a cassette tape for, him to critique. And then eventually I went to work at Yes FM after that class.
I was your
Did an
boss for a little bit.
Back in the 90s, a long time ago.
So Jeff hired you at one point?
Yes, he did. Him and Todd.
Wow, there you go.
So, tell us a little bit more about your journey, your experience in radio all these years.
Well, I got to say this, because one of those DJs on the AM station that inspired me, I actually got to work with him for a span. My second radio job in Toledo, Ron Sobczak. So that was an honor. And then heard about Yes FM coming to town, and the receptionist at that radio station at the time was Vonda. If you remember Vonda K from Yes FM. And so we heard about this, and we worked together. We made some demo tapes together, and right across the street from that radio station, they were doing the interviews. So we took turns walking across the street having the interview. I had to turn it down for personal reasons at first, but then 9 months later, the Lord opened up the door, and I was able to join the team. And I'm kind of glad I missed out on those early years, hearing all the stories of all the troubles and things they had to deal with in those first few months of
Getting it going, yes.
So tell us a little bit about, maybe, for viewers that aren't familiar with the Yes FM radio network, tell us where the stations are located and what frequencies they could check us out on.
All right, well, of course, in Toledo, we are on 89.3. We also have a frequency in Lima at 89.3. We have one in Wauseon at 88.5, and that has our biggest coverage. That covers most of the rest of Northwest Ohio, west of Toledo, north of Lima. And then we have a little small translator in Fremont, Ohio. And then we have a Yes FM Streams that streams on iHeartRadio and several other radio streaming services, plus we have our own mobile apps and of course at our website. And we have a couple of sub-streams to give people a little bit more variety in apps for Yes FM Classic, where we play a lot of the older stuff of Yes FM on there. And then Yes FM Worship, which focuses on worship music and even Christian country music.
Share kind of some of the distinctives of Yes FM that have always been part of the Yes FM history as far as format goes, because it's pretty unique, isn't it?
Yeah, God has called us to minister to the youth, which not very many radio stations take that chance because it is a hard road to go. It's harder to raise funds and it's more of a niche format. But this is what God has called us to do. And it hasn't been an easy road, but God has always provided. And station not only reaches youth, but adults as well. Adults that maybe don't like the traditional Christian music that's out there, like more of a more up-tempo style, rock style, or hip-hop style, or dance style. And just to see the testimonies and stories that we've heard from people over the years, how this music has touched people, reaching people that probably would never go to church, would never listen to Christian radio, but they listen to us because of the genres and styles of music that Yes FM plays. And we've heard stories from people being, receiving salvation. In fact, whole families coming to know Christ through Yes FM, being rescued from suicide thoughts, alcoholism, witchcraft, drug addiction, depression, and the list goes on.
Yeah. Jeff, run us through what people might hear on your show in the morning from 6 to 9, Monday through Friday.
All right. Well, my co-host is Mindy. She has been with us for the last few months now, and we have a little fun. We have, of course, our mix of music, and we have special guests that come on, talk about what's going on in the area. We have what's called the Morning Munch that we do every morning at 7:25. It's our morning devotional featuring pastors, ministry leaders, not only from our area, but across the country as well. They give us a devotion and we interview them afterwards. And we have some fun, we have some scripture, and a nice variety on the Wake Up Call morning show.
Yeah, some really great interviews too.
Yes, we've interviewed people from movie stars and of course artists to national leaders in ministry, and the list goes on.
Now, a lot of people are familiar with people in the Christian contemporary music genre, but what are some of the names of some of the artists that regularly play on Yes FM?
There's some of our bigger artists. There's some that might be familiar with a lot of people, for King and Country and Toby Mac, but some of the more that people might not be used to hearing on Christian radio would be Skillet, NF, 21 Pilots, Lecrae, Andy Mineo, KB, and artists like that.
These are artists that I'm familiar with only because of my children. They enjoy Yes FM music, absolutely.
And that leads to a great point about Yes FM. It's a radio station that the whole family can agree on. Maybe mom or dad may not like more of that up-tempo stuff, but to know that your kids are listening to it, they can at least agree on that. But usually when you listen to Yes FM, there's going to be something for everybody. Maybe mom will like one song, the next song dad will like, the kids will like the next few. So it's something that the whole family can enjoy together.
What is, you have a challenge that you always put out for viewers. I hear about that quite a bit.
Yes.
You want to describe that and what you'd like to challenge our viewers to listen to this next couple of weeks?
It's called the Extreme Makeover Challenge. Listen to Yes FM for 2 weeks and you'll see it have a positive effect on your life. It just shows the difference that it makes by what you listen to, what you put into your mind through what you listen to in your music.